Social media offers a world of advantages to the research community. However, most researchers simply do not have the time or the expertise to properly use social media in order to enhance their work, disseminate their findings, and further their research agendas. You might even be asking, is Twitter worth investing your valuable time and energy? Social media research dissemination is the applied science of connecting the research and academic communities with teachers, parents, patients, students, policymakers, consumers, real people, those individuals, families, and communities impacted by scientific progress and discovery. Through social media, you can reach new audiences with research findings, sparking new conversations and access to reimagine the function and process of research and solving problems in the social, behavioral, health equity, and education arenas. Let's take a look at some quick pointers on how to design an effective Twitter campaign for your research project. First, let's appreciate exactly what Twitter is and consider why and whether or not Twitter is the best platform for you to use for your social media research dissemination strategy. As we've seen, there are lots of social media options. Each has a specific flavor or set of assumptions and norms that are very important to understand. Of these, Twitter seems to be one of the most relevant platforms for communicating about science and research. Consider the following. There are over 69 million Twitter users in the US at last count. 37% of Twitter users are between the ages of 18 and 29, and 25% of users are 30 to 49 years old. More than half of Twitter users earn over $50,000 a year. Twitter has increased their year-over-year daily active users by 9% year-over-year. And according to eMarketer, nearly 66% of the businesses who have 100 or more employees have a Twitter account and expect it to rise. But all of these statistics and factoids aside, I'd argue that we don't yet know the real power of Twitter for research dissemination because the research community is just now starting to embrace social media. At the Social Media Research Dissemination Initiative, or SMRDI, we provide support for researchers and community folks looking to increase their social media wherewithal by connecting researchers with undergrads trained in social media research dissemination. Here's Janae Brown from the SMRDI.
Different ways that social media platforms are perceived by people and backgrounds, it really ties down to what your objective goal is and how interactive you are on social media. For instance, on Facebook. Facebook is usually used for connecting with people, family. A lot of times, a lot of older generations starting to use that as well.
When it comes to like Instagram is more so photos, videos. A lot of things tend to go viral on Instagram because it's a visual thing and people love video and they can interact and comment. Twitter is more so blogging in a sense. You get to talk, you get to express how you feel, people relate to it, they retweet it, they share it with their friends, and it can go viral that way or expand, or people can have like general conversations with you about it. They have photos and videos as well, but it's more so text focused. My favorite is Instagram by far. When I first started out with Instagram, it wasn't what it is now. There was far less users. There wasn't a career in it, and people were just sharing to share, kind of like Facebook. It was a new thing, so everybody hopped on, and it was a wave. And now it has become an industry.
Researchers are beginning to routinely use Twitter for sharing information and resources, asking for and receiving assistance, social commentary, highlighting their online presence, and networking. There's lots of information, tips, and strategies out there about how to use Twitter for academic and research purposes. A lot of it is good stuff. For example, Amanda Barnes offered these 5 considerations for how to use social media for your research dissemination. According to her blog at oxfordglobalmedia.com, it's important to define the purposes of using social media platforms, as well as how to use them to achieve that purpose. You shouldn't try to be everywhere, or you won't be able to sustain the resources to maintain them all. There are so many platforms now: Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Medium, Instagram, and the list goes on. Not all will be right for your research dissemination. So you need to look at where the communities you want to reach are engaging on social media and focus there. You can't do social media by half measures. You need to reach a minimum critical mass and engage on a regular basis in order to make an impact. You need to figure out how to combine the platforms you use and make sure that together they'll earn their keep. And last but not least, my personal favorite, there aren't any hard and fast rules. Where you concentrate your efforts and how you use your social media platform depends on your purpose, the resources you have at your disposal, and most of all, on the social media habits of the communities you want to reach. The good thing is that you can easily experiment. Again, this is good stuff, but in my opinion, there are no shortcuts. I love Amanda's point number 5 because it speaks to the need for you to get personal about your social media campaign. Your purpose and your personality should drive how you come across online. After all, this is social interaction. So be yourself. You've got to interact with other people. The social is just as important as the media. One of the take-homes from our earlier look at social media discourse around science is that personality and behavioral elements like sarcasm and even incivility can creep into social media discussions, which means that you've got to be prepared to keep it real. All too often, being professional is conflated with being generic. Don't be generic. Be yourself. I think it also speaks to the reality that a lot of social media research dissemination involves trial and error experimentation, which we're going to look at later on in this mini course when we analyze social media posts using measures from dissemination science and business analytics. So without further ado, here's my 3-step process for creating an effective Twitter campaign for your IRL project. Step 1, interact. You heard what Janae said. Log on to Twitter if you haven't already and start retweeting others' work. Follow people and mention them in your posts. Actually read and respond to what others are saying. You'd be surprised how far a sincere response can get you on Twitter. There's a wonderful Twitter account maintained by our IRL ops team at IRL Leaders, which is a wonderful handle for you to interact with. They do a great job of hyping you up and by spreading your impact all across the IRL world and beyond. Step 2, interact. A great strategy is to connect interesting person A to interesting person B, and Twitter is perfect for this. Here's one of our proudest early moments at the SMRDI, when State Farm Insurance, also known as the world's largest insurance company in the world, acknowledged us on Twitter. Now, lest you think this is just bragging, I'd like to point out that we are not working with either party in this case. We simply found an interesting K-12 project from a headline and turned it into a tweet that caught the attention of a multi-billion-dollar corporation with nearly 100,000 followers. Step 3, interact. I don't really know how to say this, so I'm just going to say it. It goes down in the DM. It goes down. Don't neglect that direct message feature on your Twitter account. DMs are a great way to spark conversation by indicating your interest in what someone else has going on and to get them interested in you. A quality DM says, hey, I'm interested. Their quasi-private nature adds an element of personal, unique flair to a social media connection that can pay dividends. I also think people and organizations are much more responsive to unsolicited DMs than they are to unsolicited texts, phone calls, or even emails. Got other ideas? We'd love to hear from you, IRL. Add us at SMRDI1 or visit us online at jomoworks.com/SMRDI for more information.